Hey friends, Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. You know, without you guys, that I cannot make it without you guys. So I appreciate all that you guys do. You know, the talking heads, skill, no way, no how, are all having a field day about our team, the Dallas Cowboys. In fact, some of you supposed Cowboy fans are disgusted with our team. It's funny because the difference between winning and losing literally is that much. It does not take much to change the course of a game or a season. I think back to one of those years, I'm trying to remember which one, but one of those years that Eli Manning was the Super Bowl MVP. On that season, there were so many games that literally broke the right way for the Giants. I remember the Giants were against, I believe, Arizona, and they were behind. And Eli threw a pass, it was complete. I can't remember who it was completed to. Time's running out, and they need to get a score to win the game. And the receiver caught the ball, immediately went down on the ground, was never touched, and left the ball right there on the field. The ball was still technically live. The officials called it like he was tackled, but he wasn't. They went on and won that game. But that whole season was situations like that that could have been literally any one of those, because I think they were 9-7 when they made the playoffs. Had that one play not happened, just that one, they would have lost that game, been 8-8, and would not have made the playoffs and would not have beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. But almost every week there was a play that happened that should have not happened, that helped them to win. And that literally is how razor thin the difference between winning and losing is. We have some positive things. And as much as you guys want to trash my quarterback, Dak is in the top 5 in almost every category in the NFL. Every one of them, quarterback-wise. I know that's hard to believe the way they talk about Dak and say, is it time to worry about Dak? I say there's some other guys that you ought to worry about a lot more than that. Because the difference of winning a game versus losing, the perception changes completely. We've got the second receiver in the whole NFL in Amari Cooper. I want you to think about that for a second. The second, when you've got Hopkins out there, you've got Julio Jones and all this, you got some receivers out there. You don't think about the Dallas Cowboys having a receiver that's second in the NFL. Zeke Elliott isn't running the ball as much because he's sharing time with Tony Pollard. So, he's, I think, 7th. And I think we've gotten away from the run a little too much. I think we're going to the well maybe a little too much with the passing. But we've got a great passing attack. And I know I sent this post to the Cowboys conglomerate, which is E2 Blue and DMV Dallas Cowboys, who's busy with the new baby, Elton, myself, and Clarence. Because right now, Dak Prescott is on pace for 5,100 and I think 29 yards. I have the calculation in my car. 36 TDs and 19 interceptions. It's identical to Big Ben, except for who led the NFL last year, mind you, except for two things. Big Ben only had 34 TDs, and his pass per completion was 2 yards less than Dak's, and he had three less interceptions. So Dak is headed to be, at the moment, and a lot of people say, yeah, but you can't count, that doesn't count because the last two games. Well, I want you to understand that even with the last two games, Dak has averaged 326 yards a game. I think that's too much for our Cowboys because that reminds me of the years where Tony Romo had to sling the ball all over the place and we were 8-8. We weren't balanced. But I want to remind you that in the two games, New Orleans and Green Bay, he threw for almost 700 yards. That's not winning football for the Dallas Cowboys, mind you, but still. So he's still on pace for that 5,100 yards that would have led the NFL last year. He's throwing the ball further than Big Ben was last year, which means you're challenging. And if we go through, and let's be honest, because I know what the haters do out there. They say, well, Dak Prescott's got 6 interceptions. One's a Hail Mary. You can throw that one away. Okay? Throw it away. 2 were definitely just bad interceptions. 2. Other 3 were ones that were on hands. I know the haters will say he's got 6. But let's take a good look at those. Because clearly, there's bad interceptions and there's bad interceptions. You look at Carson Wentz last year in New Orleans. He had 3 bad interceptions. And they got blew the F out. But here's the thing. Back to my original premise. The difference between winning and losing is razor thin. And here's the thing that is killing the Dallas Cowboys. The reason that they aren't winning all of the games and are struggling. One stat in particular. This stat does not lie. And that's the giveaway takeaway stat. The Cowboys are -4. 24th in the NFL. 24th. The only other team that is that low, that has a winning record, is the Rams, who's also at 4. You know who's down there with us? Miami, Washington, Cincinnati, New York. It's kind of cold out here. Denver, Jacksonville. Teams that are winless. In 5 games, we got 1 interception and 3 fumbles by our defense. That's it. That ain't shit. On the flip side, we've had 8 turnovers, 6 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Look at the flip side of this. You know who leads that? At plus, I think, 7? Green Bay. Tied with New England at 7. You see all the teams that are considered the juggernauts, the teams that are winning, they're all up in the top. We're more of the exception to the rule of having a winning record with that takeaway or lack of takeaway and giveaway. Understand, to me, in my mind, when you can take the ball away from the other team, you potentially are keeping them from scoring 7 points. And you have the opportunity to put 7 on your board. You get an advantage because the defense, they're sitting on the bench drinking some Gatorade, figuring out what they're doing wrong. Now, all of a sudden, they got to run out on the field. They're not expecting it. It opens you up for the big play because defense, you don't have time to adjust and get ready for it. It can be as much as a 14-point swing. Remember a couple of years ago, 2017, when we were playing the Rams? We were rolling in the first two quarters until we had a fumbled punt by Ryan Switzer deep in our territory. It ended up being a cheap touchdown for the Rams. All of a sudden, it gave them some momentum, and then the next thing you knew, they got two scores. They get the ball to start the second half, and they blow us out. A turnover can be a 14-point swing. A turnover opens you up for big plays. A turnover gives your offense extra opportunities with the ball. A turnover can give you a short field. That's if you're getting them. If you're giving them, you're giving the other team an extra opportunity. You're giving them the element of surprise. You're giving them the potential 14-point swing in their direction. You're giving them the short field. You are giving them the game. Now, I don't know what happened to the Dallas Cowboys defense, because you can go back to the 2014 season, the catch, no catch that we're still crying about. And you can look at that season. Tony Romo threw for about 3,500 yards. Not 4,000, not 5,000. He only had one game of 300 yards. One game, the whole season of 300 yards. The defense, I think, was ranked 19th, except for one category. One category, that defense was ranked second in the league, and that was takeaway. And that made all the difference in the world, because it doesn't matter necessarily how many yards you give up. It's really how many times you get the ball. And if you can protect the ball, and you can get the ball, more times than not, you have the advantage and will win the game. The last two games, flat out. When you turned over the ball as many times as we did, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. And these things are correctable. Jason Witten doesn't fumble, but maybe once or twice in a career, it seems. Zeke Elliott, that still wasn't a fumble. Amari Cooper is usually straight glue hands. He doesn't tip that. And Dak usually doesn't make the bad passes on me. You get that together, and you start getting aggressive on this defense and getting to the quarterback, challenging these receivers, punching them in the mouth when they're at the line of scrimmage, pressing them. Those takeaways will come. But if they don't, it's hard to win. Well, that's all I have to say about that. I want to I got an email from Charlie. He said he just got his Power 4 shirt. I appreciate the support, and he's going to the Eagles game in 2 weeks. He said he's going to be wearing it there. I hope to meet him. I actually got to get my plane tickets on there. We got some other business we're supposed to be taking care of in Dallas, but I don't know when just yet, so I'm still waiting on my wife to figure that one out. But thank you very much for all the support that all you fans do. I can't do this without you guys. And, I'm wearing some of my new shirts. It's your boy. It's your boy. It's your boy. if you want to get shirts, I've got a 15% off promotion going on now. Get the number one win, and that goes through until Sunday. So if you want to get one, at least you can save 15% right now. We got all kinds of styles and stuff. So, and once we get enough, we're going to be buying some more equipment for the studio. So friends, I've talked enough today. It's time to turn out the lights and carry myself to bed because I got to get out early again in the morning. Oh, and I am sore today. Good Lord. I literally moved like a 70-year-old man. I'll see all you good people bright and early in the morning because I'll be doing my morning video at 6 a.m. See you soon. So ends another day. Back at it first thing in the morning.